Do you want to become a permanent part of the channel? Check out the Alliteration Gaming Patreon. Here you'll find different tiers that all let you get involved in my videos, as well as provide you with a shout out, exclusive Discord access, and the ability to see my content early and ad free. Now if you're new here, you're gonna need an account on the UGN site. This will let you sign up for events, locate stores near you, and of course accrue those redemption points to use in the loyalty shop. You can even snag yourself 50 bonus points right now if you let me refer you. Until August 30th, when you're signing up, just click on content creator and type my channel name in the box. Regardless of how you do it though, thanks for being part of the Alliteration Nation. Now, let's get on to the video. Good evening, my dear viewers, and welcome to another Alliteration gaming video. My name's Levi, and today we're going to be talking all about this: how to pre-release. Now, if you're coming here from our original Set 5 unboxing video, it's because you wanted to know a whole lot more about this bad boy. Otherwise, if you want to see a lot more of the Undaunted Raid cards in all of their beautiful, beautiful glory, you should check that video out because I crack open 2 full boxes of it and our pulls are sensational. Otherwise though, if you're here for this, let's get right into it. What is a pre-release? So, a pre-release is a type of event that the My Hero Academia card game holds a week prior to a new set release. You're gonna be able to go to your local game store and buy one of these bad boys right here, which is a little box that's gonna give you 6 packs of the brand newest set, Undaunted Raid in this case, before the set comes out. So you're getting to get your hands on the cards a lot earlier than most folks do, but the fun does not end there. We're not just buying cards for fun, it's all about the event itself. What is a pre-release event? Well, you're gonna take your 6 packs, you're going to open them all up, and you're going to build a deck just from those 6 packs. Now, this is an experience that's been a little bit harder to do for our card game in the past, just as a result of things like symbol chaining, characters not being determined, and stuff like that. But now, every single pack comes with a character, meaning that you're going to get 6 characters in here, and then it's your job to look at all of your cards and go, all right, which character do I want to play, and then how do I build a deck for them? Now, that might seem a little daunting, but fret not. It is a very, very beginner, new player friendly experience. You don't really need to go in with expectations, you don't even need to go in with product. You just show up, buy your little box, and then try to make a deck out of them, and you're slapping cards together. It is not a complicated process, but it can be one you can apply a lot of knowledge to. Now, it's important to know that there's a few exceptions when it comes to building decks with a pre-release. For one, normally when you're playing the game, your character has to match a symbol completely with your deck. In here, we're not going to worry about any of that. We can play any card in any character, any symbol, any deck whatsoever. There's no restrictions. Also, normally when you're building decks in our card game, you can only play 4 copies of a card. That's our playset number. And here, if you open 5 copies, you can play 5 copies. Lastly, there's one more thing that comes inside of this little box. As you can see, we get 6 booster packs and the pre-release promo card. That's our Bright Future card, which you're going to see very, very shortly once I crack into this bad boy. You are also allowed to play that card within your deck right away. Pre-releases are, at the end of the day, something that most, if not all, card games do. They are a great casual, fun, perfect learning environment for newer players, and all in all, just an absolute blast. So if everything I've said so far has convinced you to pre-release it up, let's actually get into how we do it. So this video is essentially going to be me going through my 6 packs, opening them, identifying cards that could be really, really, really good, and then actually constructing my deck during the video with you guys. So if you're looking for a little bit of like a prep guide to get ready to go to your first pre-release, this is the video to watch. And so with those pleasantries out of the way, let's whip out our duplicate deception stab, I think what we settled on here for our blade, and actually get into this little box here. Another really, really, really nice thing is this box itself. It used to be that they just kind of sent like the pizza box of packs to stores when they did pre-releases. Now, when you sign up, you actually just get like your cute little package here, and it's all very, very encompassing and kind of I don't know, just very, very visually attractive as well. And oop, here is our Bright Future. Man, this card looks amazing, absolutely astounding. We're gonna set that aside here, gonna set our little box, and the first thing you're gonna notice is that we've now also got this little doohickey here with a QR code that you can scan for basically all of the information that I just told you. You can scan this little QR code, so in the event that you're at a pre-release and you haven't watched this video, you're just gonna be able to acquire all of that knowledge and get ready to build your deck. And then on the other side, we just have another QR code that is gonna lead you to the UGN Insight, the Universe's gaming network. And this, if you're considering getting into this game, is something you absolutely need an account on, because it's how you're going to find events, it's how you're going to sign up for events, it's how you're going to track your loyalty points, which you can spend in the redemption shop for all kinds of free promo cards in the mail. It's your one-stop shop for everything event-wise when it comes to this game. And if you sign up for an account from now until August 30th, when you're signing up in the content creator section, you can actually mention my channel name, Alliteration Gaming, and start yourself off with 50 bonus points, which is enough to redeem almost all of the promo cards that are in the store. With that being said, guys, let's set this aside. Let's take a look at our bright future. It kind of comes in this little, ooh, this is really nice. This is fancy. Holy cow, that looks awesome. Without further ado, we got 6 booster packs here of the newest set, Undaunted Raid. And the coolest thing about these packs is you can pull anything from these packs, right? They're just random packs, so they might have a secret rare, they might have multiple secret rares. You could even find yourself one of the fabled chrome rares in these bad boys. So let's start opening our pack here and kind of taking a look. And so we're going to talk a little bit about deck construction here and good cards to keep an eye on. Notably, when you're looking at your foundations, you really want to be looking for a lot of low difficulty foundations, because 1s and 0s are really easy to build. You can have a deck of nothing but 1s and 0s and your foundations might be weak, but you will be able to build them, and that's more important. Whereas if you only have 2 diffs, they are all going to be very sick, but if you can't actually put them all on the board because they're so expensive, that's something to really think about when it comes to your deck construction. So already I'm looking at Confession. If I find any 0 difficulty foundations, I'm also hardcore looking at those. Just things to kind of keep in mind when you're going through your packs here and looking for specific cards. Really cheap generic attacks are really good, right? This just says lose a health. If they block it, you draw 2, discard 2. Fantastically generic. Whereas an attack that might say if your charge attack has dealt damage and then you play a fury attack as your next attack, win the game, it's not going to help you if you can't find all of those specific attributes in your packs, right? So just keep things like that in mind. And that's something you want to think about when it comes to your character as well, right? You want to look for very conditionless attacks, I should say. And that's just kind of stuff to keep in mind, right? Looking at one of our first characters here, this is Yu Hojo. So this guy says you get to play attacks from your discard pile that share 2 or more symbols with this character. Now that's a very hefty restriction. We gotta find attacks that share 2 or more symbols with this guy. That's tough to do. I would not be looking to play this guy inside of my pre-release deck. He's not who I would be looking to helm things with. Now, on the other hand, a foundation like this says if this was played anywhere other than your hand, you get to commit a rival foundation. Now, that is a unique condition to fulfill, but there's a lot of characters in this set that fulfill that condition. Almost all of the Shie Hisaikai members are going to pretty much ask you to do exactly just that. So that's a card that I would keep in mind, because if I do end up picking one of those characters, it could be really powerful, and it's so strong that it might influence me to pick certain characters. Because when you're doing this, right, normally the minimum for a deck of cards is 50. The minimum in here is 40, and also when you go to cycle through your deck, when you run out of deck, you're only going to remove 5 cards from the top rather than 10. So basically, you're going to be going through your cards a lot faster, which simply means that even if you only have things like a 1 or a 2 of, you're going to see them a lot more. So once again, you're going to be kind of looking for these things that are very conditionless. Like, look at this, right? Self-doubt says after your attack deals no damage, your next check gets +1. Anyone can do that, right? And it's a cheap one. It's a spam foundation, 1 difficulty, easy to play, and it's got a nice off-zone block as well. Another big thing that you want to think about when you're going through your that's a foundation. When you're going through your deck and putting cards in, is you want to make sure that you cover your block zones really well. You don't want to end up with a deck with nothing but highs and lows or no mids or something like that. So even if you have to play bad cards in your deck, those are things to think about. And so our rare here we have, and then we have our character, and we actually have another card behind here, which means that we're packing an XR, and it's going to be Heroic Assistance. Let's take a look at Neji right here, because she's the exact opposite of the Yu Hojo character we just pulled. She just says permanently reduce your health by 1 plus for -2 speed or +2 damage, and then when you play or block with foundations, you gain health. That's super easy to do. That doesn't ask me to do anything weird in my deck building process. She is going to be, I think, one of the premium choices when it comes to building your your sealed decks here. And remember, you can play any cards of any symbol, so you're going to end up with a lot of really unique interactions that actually aren't even possible in the normal game, because you can go and play your death symbol cards on Nejire, and then she gets to do really cool stuff with them. And so again, just kind of hammers home how interesting and unique the pre-release experience is. You're going to end up dealing with a lot of things that you don't get to do in normal games. And so once again, see, I've got this card here that says if this attack was played from anywhere other than your hand. I'm starting to find a lot of these cards here, so it might be beneficial for me to consider a character that's going to do that, because a lot of my cards are telling me to do that so far. And now this is really funny. One of the caveat characters of the pre-release experience is Fat Gum 2. He is a character that specifically cannot be your starting character. However, if I open the regular Fat Gum that lets you transform into this guy from inside of your deck, then it's going to be really powerful. So opening Fat Gum 2 is either a blessing or a curse, depending on where you end up with the rest of your packs. So let's see what the rest of my packs have in store for me. I've got another confession. Love to have a little bit of extra spam. Really cannot strike home how important it is to make sure that you're packing a lot of spams in your deck. You want to pack spams, you want to cover your block zones, and you want to make sure that you're getting a lot of nice generic value. And speaking of nice generic value, I got Kirishima 3. Now this guy is really interesting because he does say if your Fury or Punch attack is partially blocked. So I'm going to need a lot of Fury and Punch attacks if I want to make use of this guy. However, he's very powerful when you do, and his other two responses are very generically good. And now I've got, interesting, this is Soromitsu Tabe. So this guy, what does this guy say, right? He says after your attack is completely blocked, your rival destroys a foundation. That's very generically good. Remove a card from your rival's card pool to gain some stats and draw a card and minus their check. That's all very generically good stuff. This guy seems like a fantastic little pick here. He doesn't ask me to find anything specific, and he punishes my rival for just doing things that they would normally do when playing the game. But more importantly, I've got a card under Tabe, which means we've got another XR hit, and it is the Strength of a Pro. Two with an asset and an action. These are really interesting cards when you're thinking about your pre-release experience here. And we got Calorie Counter, and then our last character is Sir Night Eye. So Sir Night Eye is kind of what we call in the card game business a mill deck. He seeks to remove and or discard the top cards of your rival's deck, causing them to run out of deck and trying to deck them out as an alternate win condition. And when your rival's deck size in this format is minimum 40 cards, you can play more, but I think most people are going to think about just playing the minimum 40 because they don't have more than 40 good cards they even want in their deck. Alright, so I've swapped up the view on you guys just a little bit so y'all can see my deck building process a little easier, because that's exactly what we're going to do. And so the first thing that we're going to need to do here is select our character. So right away, if we look through our guys we've gotten here, Fat Gum 2 is off the table. We don't have Fat Gum 1, we cannot play Fat Gum 2. Get him out of here. Next up is Yu Hojo. Once again, Yu Hojo asks us to play attacks that share two symbols with him. He's got all, evil, and water. Let's take a look at our attacks here. Just evil, just all, just evil, just evil, just... Okay, all evil, water. It's his card, makes sense. That's our only one. We've got one whole target here for Yu Hojo, and it's a card that needs other copies of itself to work. So right away, we can write Yu Hojo off. He's not our character of choice. Now, that leaves us with 4 options here. Now, if you want to go the mill route, Sir Night Eye is a great choice. That's not my cup of tea. So I'm going to set Sir Night Eye aside, and we're going to look at these 3 right here. And so now that I've narrowed it down to these 3 characters, we want to actually start taking a little bit of a look at our attacks and also just think about personal preference. Now, for one, I, as a player, am really drawn to 7 hand size characters, so I like both of these guys a lot better than Tabe. So I'm going to take Tabe here and set him aside because he's not my favorite. Now, I will say, punishing your rival for partially blocking when in a pre-release deck, it's unlikely that your rival's block zones are going to be very well covered, is a super powerful ability, but I think I'm leaning a little more towards Nejire so I can be a bit more free in my deck construction. So we're going to set Kirishima aside, and we finally settled on Nejire. Now we're going to build a 40 card deck here, and generally in our card game, when you're looking ratio wise, you want about 1/3 of your deck to be attacks. And so that means we're going to want somewhere along the lines of 12 or 13 attacks in our deck. Now we're playing a 7 hand size character, so a bigger hand size means we can be a little greedier with that. So first thing I want to do within my attacks is just go through them and take out the ones that I definitely don't really get to utilize. This needs me to discard a card, I don't like it. This needs me to play from other than my hand, I don't like it. This is very generic, I do like it. This needs a Fury to combo and ask me to destroy a foundation, I'm not into it. This is very generic, very, very generic. Got my face on it. If your face is on it, you're gonna play it. That's a very, very good general rule of thumb. This combos with a punch. Could be good, could be good. I'm not gonna write it out just yet because we kind of do have a lot of punches in here. These are very generic. This needs other copies of itself. This is kind of on the mill train. This is all, you know, very night eye interaction type of stuff. This card's very generic. This is a throw. I've got my face on it. This needs its speed to be 7 or more. I don't really have a consistent way to do that. My character pumps damage, so I'm gonna also set it in like the note pile. And so this is kind of the lineup after getting these more specific attacks out of the way. Now let's look at our foundations. The first thing that you should be doing with your foundations is separating them by difficulty. So your 3s, your 2s, your 1s, and your 0s. Now if we have 12 attacks in our deck, that means we're going to be looking for about 28 foundations. And so that's where you really want to start thinking about your ratios here. So first off, our 0s, we're going to play all 3 of our 0s. Even though this wants us to play from other than our hand, we don't really do that. Doesn't matter. We're playing our 0s because they are our 0s. So we can imagine that as 3 sleeved up here. Now let's take a look at some of these foundations here. Inside of our spams here, human garbage asks you to have other copies of it, so we can't do that. We're gonna get human garbage out of the equation here. Again, when it comes to spams, you're really not looking to think about what am I gonna put in. It's really what I'm gonna take out, because you're trying to play almost all, if not all, of your spams. Looking at these 2 cards right here, this wants to interact with the whole mill style and is a 4 check. I'm not into it. This needs you to play from a place other than the hand. My character does not do that, so I'm not into it. 3, 6, 9, 11. 14 here, so if we're looking for 28 foundations, these 14 spams and then 14 non-spams is a great even ratio. So I'm actually just going to stick this whole pile in our yes category. So we got a pretty fat stack here, and we want to trim it down to about 14 or so. So let's look at some things we can cut. This has got a fat gum enhance on it, so I'm not really into it. It also wants our hand size to be less than our rivals. We're a 7-hander. It's not going to be. Let's get this big appetite out of the equation. Next, let's look at Surge. Surge wants us to interact with charge or ranged attacks. We only have a few of those, so I don't think this card can stick around in our deck either. Let's see. We also have things like Resigned. So this has a 10-guy response only on it, but I do really like its card pull response as well, but probably not very married to it. We've got 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we actually need one more, which might come into play when we take a look at our assets and actions here. Bright Future, we can't utilize very well inside of our deck. Takoyaki does have an enhance that I can't, or, I'm sorry, a response that I cannot use because I'm not Fat Gum, Amajiki, or Kirishima, but Destroy for +2 or -2 damage and then draw a card is really, really, really handy. It's also a 6 check, which is super attractive. So I think I'd like to slot that in there. And then Barrier Shield here just allows us to give Breaker 2 to the next card that we play. I think that's very awesome. So I would love to play that card. And so now that I've decided my foundations, I'm going to sort everything and take a look at the dispersity of my block zones. And so if we take a look at my zones here, it looks like I've got 16 highs, 15 mids, and then only 9 lows. So if anything, I'd actually like to trade a couple highs for a couple lows. So we're going to take these 2 cards that ended up in the maybe pile, my 2 low blocks here. I got 1 attack and 1 foundation. Let's trade out. I want to maintain my spam foundation count in here, so I'm looking to take a 2 diff or a 3 diff out here. And just looking at this, I do like the 6 check on this card a lot, but there's not a lot of breaker or assets running around, so I'm actually going to cut this one from my deck and bring in Crystallized. And now that puts me at 14 highs, 11 lows, and 15 mids, so a very nice little balance of a 40 card deck. And so with our deck all sleeved up, the only thing I'm unfortunately missing is someone to throw down with, but you can, hang on. Sorry about that, guys. But you can omit that issue for yourself by hitting up your local game store and checking out your very own, oh man, come on, dude. By checking out your very own pre-release and getting to throw down with these new cards with a bunch of other new players in a very beginner. Oh my goodness, man. Come on.
Halt! Dastardly villain!
Oi, oi, oi. Hey, what's going on here, man?
You are being raided! Undauntedly!
Me? No way. I'm the one doing the raiding. Who the heck are you?
I am the true champion, Steven! And we have a pre-release deck to fight against you with.
Well, that just so happens, Steven. I also have a pre-release deck to fight you with.
My victory will be unbreakable.
Oh, heck no. Me and Nejire are going to absolutely whoop your butt, Steven. But first, you kind of called me in the middle of my outro. You mind if I go finish that real quick?
Sure.
And so that's going to wrap up this little pre-release tutorial, guys. I hope you all found this video super informative. I'm out here trying to help all of the new Set 5 gamers out here getting into the action and hitting up their pre-release events. And so I hope you were very informed, or at the very least just enjoyed cracking open some packs with me. Either way, that's all the time I've got for today, guys. A reminder that if you want your own pre-release experience just like this, except with a bunch of other players to actually play against, please hit up your local game stores from June 23rd onwards. June 23rd to June 30th, you're gonna be able to attend some pre-release events, get your hands on these cards, and have an awesome experience. And again, if you don't know where to get in on the action, you can use the UGN site to find some local stores near you that are hosting said events. Now, if you'll excuse me, Najre and I have some true champ Steven butt to whoop. I hope I get to see you guys in that video.